iPhone uses facial recognition as your password to get into your phone. Well, some airports scan your face when you go through customs to come into the U.S. But even if you don't travel abroad or plan on paying $1,000 for a phone, Laura explains your face might already be in a really big database.
Your face tells a lot about you these days. It's just like your fingerprint, especially in the digital world. And Facebook now has the largest digital database for facial recognition in the world. I'm talking bigger than the FBI. 300 million photos are uploaded to the site every day. Just think, every time you post a picture to the social media site, it usually knows who's in the picture with you before you can even tag them. So what does that mean for your personal security? Well, we talked to a former CIA agent who says it could compromise your personal information.
The problem is that when one organization owns all the information, they own your face and they own where you live, they own who your friends are, they have banking data, they have shopping data, they have behavioral characteristics and trends from you. Now, if someone hacks into that one organization, they get access to everything that organization has.
So the best thing for you to do, just cut the facial recognition off, and it's super easy to do. Let me show you. Go up to that drop-down menu on your Facebook page. You'll see settings right here. Go to settings, it'll populate. Go over to timeline and tagging. You see here at the bottom where it says who sees tag suggestions when photos that look like you are uploaded. Just go to edit. See this drop down right here? Take it off of friends and click no.
Dubai is doing away with security checkpoints next year and will instead use virtual fish to verify your identity. You heard that right. Starting in 2018, travelers at the Dubai International Airport will clear security by walking through a virtual aquarium lined with facial recognition cameras. When a traveler reaches the end of the tunnel, he or she will either be cleared with the message, "Have a nice trip," or a red sign will be displayed to alert security. Officials said that the aquarium projection is more than just an entertaining novelty. Virtual fish swimming around a simulated aquarium encourages people to look around, allowing the facial recognition cameras to capture better quality face scans. The project, which can be seen beginning in 2018 in Terminal 3, is being developed in partnership with Emirates Airline.
From the store, to the bank, to the home.
Okay, Google, what noise does a panda make?
To the airport, biometrics authentication all around us. You are the password. We are talking your fingerprints, your eyes, your voice, those now being used to identify us in all manner of ways.
It's incredibly common these days, especially on flagship devices. If you don't see a fingerprint reader on a phone, someone's going to get upset.
And those fingerprint scanners have been around on phones for years. They're known to be secure. Even the FBI struggled to get into an iPhone belonging to the San Bernardino shooter. Samsung lets you pay for goods using your eyes as your PIN. And Apple's new iPhone X recognizes your face using technology it says even a lifelike model could not fool. The chances of breaking through?
1 in a million.
Which sounds great for convenience.
Being able to use our fingerprints to easily wake up the screen and to get into the phone rather than having to input anything, it's just something that a lot of people just adopt.
But raises the inevitable security concerns. Notably, that is a lot of pretty personal information. So who has access to it, and what could they potentially do with it as well?
It's not all in one place. It's distributed. Some of it's in your device. Some of it's kept in government databases. Some of it is partial. And it has to be put together in order to make a decision.
That's the view of this expert. Welcome to the new normal.
Essentially, biometrics really now filters through everything.
Because it's not quite that black and white.
Computer biometrics does a few extra things, and that is that it actually looks to make sure that you're alive, that the biometric signature, your fingerprint, is really you, and then also sometimes uses context, like, for example, where are you located in GPS. And so by putting that all together, they can get a good idea at high confidence that you are who you are.
Meet Jacob, Mikhail, and Sinjini. Only one of them's getting into this computer. It's not just scanning the face, it wants to see the ears too. They've been working on this here at CSU Fullerton for a while now. It's still a little rough around the edges.
What's the kind of success rate?
We're at 97%.
But they're hoping their 3D scan invention will take off. And here's why.
Both combined provides more security. If I'm an attacker, I want to get a picture of your face. That's pretty easy with Facebook. Now I need to find a picture of your face and your trained ear. That's a little bit harder for me. That's another dimension I need to find.
So the cameras are watching, the electronic ears are listening, whether we like it, whether we trust them or not.
LAX is rolling out some new technology where an eye scan and a fingerprint will now get you through security. The New York-based company is called Clear, and its kiosks are being introduced at airports nationwide. But the technology isn't free. CBS News' Randy Page is live at LAX to explain. Hi, Randy.
Hi, Pat. That really is the question, because this technology does work well. It'll get you through at least one of the lines here faster, but you have to be willing to pay the cost. You know the drill. First you show your ID and boarding pass to a TSA agent, then you go through the metal detectors. But what if you could get through that first step quickly? A company called Clear is offering the ability to do just that. You walk up to a Clear kiosk, scan your boarding pass and provide a fingerprint or an eye scan, and you're off to the line for the metal detectors.
In less than a half of a second, we validate who you are, we validate your travel document, and you're into the physical screening process.
It is a service that allows you to skip having to show your boarding pass and ID, but you still have to go through the X-ray machines or metal detectors. The cost, $179 a year. Worth it? Kim Smith says not for that kind of money.
It would not be worth the money to me. No, not for $179 a year.
Dave Burt says, sign me up.
If you're late for a flight, you want to move quick, retina, piece of cake, in and out. I love it. Great idea.
And since you're providing Clear with personal information, including fingerprints and eye scans, what about the potential for identity theft?
It's a fair question, and what I'd say to you is that the integrity of our data, the biometrics of our customers, ultimately is the integrity of our company. We take that very seriously.
First questions, does facial recognition technology work as advertised? USA Today's Ed Baig saying, this is probably the #1 question on people's minds. It certainly was mine, and so far, Apple has passed the test with flying colors. Baig says Face ID worked even when he wore a hat, sunglasses, or both. Baig says the 10 leaves, in his words, a strong first impression. Now, over at The Verge, Nili Patel gave his take. He's a fan of that new display, writing, the iPhone 10 OLED is bright, sharp, vibrant, without verging into parody, and generally a constant pleasure to look at. As for Face ID, Patel says it mostly works great, though sometimes he says it was inconsistent in bright sunlight. However, he still says it's the best iPhone ever made. Remember, a big reason people upgrade their phones is because of better cameras. Mashable's Lance Ulnoff saying not only are the lenses and image sensors better than ever, but the algorithms backing them are taking mobile photography to new heights.
Today we have a report on the facial recognition boom in China. The technology is used for all sorts of things, like opening doors and even ensuring that everyone using a public bathroom gets the exact same amount of toilet paper. It's hailed as progress, but also poses ethical questions, particularly in a country with 170 million surveillance cameras, and that number is set to more than double in the next few years. Pierre-Philippe Berson sent us this report.
The Temple of Heaven is one of Beijing's most popular tourist spots. Several meters away from it, there's a new attraction, the public restrooms. To get toilet paper, tourists now have to stand facing this facial recognition dispenser. The rule is simple, no more than 3 sheets per person. The machine recognizes individuals trying to get more. Installed last March as a trial, this kind of dispenser could see wide use in the near future. In China, facial recognition isn't limited to just bathrooms. The technology is getting more visible on campus, too. In female dormitories at Beijing Normal University, keys are no longer used. The door automatically opens after a face scanning process. In some months, every building will be equipped with such machines. This hasn't raised any concern among the students.
This is much safer. Unknown individuals can't get in. This is not a science fiction nightmare. This is just progress. Technology makes our life better.
Facial recognition is popping up everywhere in everyday life in China. The sector is booming, over 15% growth per year. Between now and 2020, sales could pass 6 billion euros. The company Face++ is a leader in the Chinese market. This startup is valued at $1 billion, partly because of its groundbreaking innovation in image scanning.
On these screens, you can see that every person in the room is filmed real-time. The grid you see here is analyzing my face. Our cameras can now recognize me, even from the side or when my head rotates 30 degrees to the left or right, or 15 degrees up or down.
All employees at the company have given their face prints. Cameras film and record every move. The startup is specifically working on the security sector. The field is flourishing in China right now. There are over 170 million cameras all across the country. By 2020, there will be another 450 million of them.
Now we can convert video surveillance footage into real-time information for the police. Here we can see the exact location where we found a runaway criminal. Other countries, especially the US, have similarly advanced technology, but China is the first one to really implement this.
In an authoritarian country like China, no one publicly criticizes this mass surveillance. The protection of personal data is not really debated. However, one artist was inspired by the omnipresent army of cameras. Xu Bing is a filmmaker. He made this movie, called Dragonfly Eyes, with only surveillance camera footage.
This is Dragonfly.
There are no actors, only anonymous people who are not aware of being filmed. Some people look like each other. Xu Bing was able to form a protagonist and make a plot. Xu Bing downloaded all these materials online. In China, hundreds of websites live stream surveillance video. He has 7,000 hours in total.
We've been working on this project for over a year. Actually, it took us nearly 2 years. And during all that time, we kept downloading and watching surveillance videos. We had about 20 computers in our workshop running 24 hours a day. There were 5 or 6 staff members, sometimes less, sometimes more, but always working full-time.
As a result, the movie looks dark and worrying, and poses questions about mass surveillance.
After watching all these videos, my assistants were more careful when they went out on the streets. This film has a few scary parts, and as we progressed in our work, I felt this anxiety creeping up inside me.
The movie is a snapshot of today's China, but for the director, this could soon be a reality anywhere.
Right, for more on this, I'm joined in the studio by Fabrice Ebelpoin, who teaches at Sciences Po University here in Paris and is the co-founder of Yogosha. Hello, thank you very much for coming in. Now, in China, as we just saw, facial recognition is used for all sorts of things like opening doors and boarding planes and catching criminals. But just how reliable is this technology? How accurate?
So far, it's not extremely reliable, but it will become more and more reliable. There are always ways to bypass such techniques, but it is becoming more and more reliable.
What are the ways? Can you use some sort of disguise? If you wear a hat, sunglasses, a mask, can you actually avoid?
Yeah, typically, except that, for example, in France, it's illegal to do this in the streets.
It's illegal to do what in the streets?
To hide your face in the streets.
Right. So the technology isn't quite, well, it's not 100% accurate, but it's certainly more and more developed, and it's developing very fast. And as we saw in the report as well, there are 170 million surveillance cameras in China. Apparently the number is set to reach 450 million by 2020. How does that compare to other countries in the world, that number of cameras?
We should do the math, but it sounds awfully similar to the UK, for example, or to what France is poised to become in the coming years.
So would you say that now it's just something that's happening all around the world then, that you really can't be anonymous anymore?
The surveillance state is a global phenomenon. It is transforming governance all over the world, whether it's the American governance or the French or European way to see democracy, or China. They are all going the same way. For example, in the United States, who could have guessed 20 years ago that the Fourth Amendment, who would have protect you from illegal warrant, would be just a piece of history. It's gone now, the Fourth Amendment. In France or in Europe, you don't have any right to privacy anymore. It's gone. And in China, yeah, the Chinese government is changing because all those governments are using mass surveillance technologies.
But then isn't the issue that this surveillance technology could be used for cracking down on dissidents? For example, in China, you could use the technology to catch protesters.
Yeah, of course. You could use this in France tomorrow, and a month ago, Donald Trump asked to have the list of every American citizen looking for anti-Trump content on the internet. So he thinks he's going to use this.
So even though we have democracy in Europe and in the US, and China is a different system, you're saying that we're just as unprotected and as exposed as anyone in China?
I'm saying that you should question yourself about what is democracy. What age are we living in? Are we really living in a democracy, and are those technology really helping? And I'm afraid the answer is no.
Now, we saw you mentioned the UK before, and with the number of surveillance cameras over there, and during the Notting Hill Carnival, the police used facial recognition to look through the crowd to see if anyone was there who shouldn't be there. Do you think that's something we're going to see more and more?
Yes, of course. We are seeing it already, and we're going to see more and more, since those technologies are going to be used worldwide, either in Europe, in UK, in China, in America. Every country who has the technological power to use those technologies are going to use them.
But is it affordable?
It will become eventually affordable. It is already affordable for states, and you can already have those technology if you're using a Macintosh, for example. The photo editor on the Macintosh has those technology. It's used to identify, for example, the picture of your mother throughout all the picture you took, but it could be used in very different ways. For example, such technologies have been used during the London riots a few years ago to identify looters by ordinary citizens looking to do justice themselves, which is kind of a problem in a democracy.
So, do you think it's more inspiring or alarming overall to have this kind of technology available to us?
Overall, it's pretty alarming because nobody really realized how it is changing our world, and nobody really realized the side effect it is going to have on our political regime, whether they are authoritarian regime or democracies. All those regimes are going to change deeply because of those technology. And this is a question nobody really asks the people who govern us.